No.
I have a Coke that
I have a liquid drinking.
IV. Yeah. I have water. Yeah.
I'm not drinking, as Zanaya says, for reasons.
For reasons.
Hey, good enough for me. So you let us know what you're drinking at home. Hopefully you did pour up something. But
I don't
today,
know.
Can I mention something about drinking?
Yeah.
So we went to a work party for my husband's work last night, and they had this really cool thing. It was like a drink smoker, like a smoke gun that you put down into your drink. So if you're having like a Manhattan or I don't know, one of those brown liquor drinks. I don't really drink a lot of brown liquor, so I don't know what other ones there are. But they were using the smoke gun, and it was actually really, really good. It added like this smoky flavor to the drink, and it added such like a depth of flavor. And you can also like smoke your olives for a martini if you wanted to do that too. So we're going to get one. We really thought it was so cool.
Girl, that's like a fancy ass party.
Right? Yeah, it was.
I have never heard of that. It sounds interesting.
Let us know, listeners, if any of y'all have one. And then when we get ours, I'll let you know how it goes.
So I'll be honest. I was in Austin. This was years ago. I was in Austin on 6th Street. And if you know Austin, you know that's like...
Yeah.
Party. Well, it used to be the party. I think it still is like the party place. But Austinites prefer other places. Anyways. But we went into this bar where we were able to smoke our shots. I don't even know how it worked, but it was almost like in a bottle, and they would let out the bottom of it and you would just smoke it. And I don't know how it all worked. I was like already pretty messed up that night. So I don't know. They were like, hey, you want to smoke a Patron shot? And I was like, yeah, that sounds nice. It was wild. And you would think that it like didn't really do anything, but it does give you a buzz. I don't know how they turn the liquid into gas and then make it smokable, but it was an experience. Yeah,
that's a different kind of smoke.
I know.
Yes. For a second, I was like, "Is this bitch talking about hookah?"
Yeah, right.
Ew, like,
No, I've done those too, but
hookah.
so that's the thing too. But yeah, let us know what you're into tonight. Also, don't forget to follow us on all our socials. Everything is linked on our show notes, and send us emails, babiesdownbottlesup@gmail.com. And today's episode, we're kind of following on the same theme for the last few episodes that have been dealing with fears about passing down our conditions to our children. But today's episode, we're going to look at a different perspective of kind of those same kind of topics. We want to talk about when our children started noticing our blindness, how we went about explaining our blindness to our kids. And I think we're going to have some of the kids actually come on and ask them questions about how they processed, our disabilities and kind of what a difference it's made in their lives. And I don't know, we'll just see how this goes. But yeah, I mean, do you guys remember kind of how old your kids were when they started noticing that you were blind? Like, were they even able to talk and ask questions at that time?
Well, my kids, they figured it out pretty early, actually. And they both kind of started talking early too, unfortunately.
Not unfortunately.
Yeah, because now they won't stop talking. But the way that I noticed, or that we noticed, that the kids kind of recognized that we couldn't see, is they started grabbing our hands and putting our hands on things to show us. So instead of like saying, look, they'll just say, let me show you. And they'll like pull us to whatever they wanted to show us. Or like if they got hurt, they'll put our hand on like where they were hurt. And that was around like 2 years old. I think tonight was about 1.5. Zane was about 2. And we didn't even like have that talk. They kind of just, I guess, observed it and went with that. So
yeah.
It was interesting.
I think same. I think my kids were about the same age too. And I think I've told the story on the podcast before, but Delainy had her squeaker shoes and she just learned to walk on her tippy toes.
Yeah.
So that I couldn't hear her. And then she would just go hide somewhere and be very quiet. But I feel like it was about like when they started having some more of that more functional language development that my kids kind of found out or just started noticing things. And for us, it's interesting because my youngest does have a developmental disability. So I thought it would be harder for her to understand and I would have to explain a whole lot more. But it's actually the opposite. And I think it's because she has her own disabilities. She can understand what limitations that there are. I never had to teach her, and she understands more than anyone else in my family. Kind of like what Keisha was saying, she's always just showed me things in my hands, or she explains things so well. And my husband and my older kiddo, they will express sometimes that they forget that I can't see. And for my younger child, that never happens. And it's like she kind of always has it in the back of her mind. I wonder if it's because she has her own disabilities that she has to figure out alternative ways to do things too.
Yeah, so maybe
Kids are
like
so smart.
she connects in that way, like she understands it without being said, without being taught, because she gets it.
I think it's because her mind has to work that way too, like the same way ours does, is that there are some things in life that we just have to do differently. And you're kind of always thinking about those things throughout the day. And I think she is too, with her like mobility limitations. And so her brain is already like hardwired that way. So it's not a hard jump for her to think, well, what's mom going to need?
Yeah, so I think for me, we're kind of still figuring it out because mine are so little. But I noticed like with both of my kiddos, they started kind of doing things, with like guiding my hand to their mouth as I'm feeding them, and that's super young, like, 6 or 7 months when we're starting to really give the solids and spoon feeding and all of that. So I noticed that right away with both of them. I mean, it was, obviously they don't understand, but like they definitely had that kind of idea to like, oh, well, here, if I help her move her hand to my mouth, then I get the food, right?
Yeah.
So like there's something there for sure. But I think actually understanding like, oh, mommy and daddy can't see, I think I would say 2 as well. With Nicholas, he was really just asking questions like, mommy, why don't you drive? And like things that kind of really surprised me for his age, like 2 and 3. He would say like, why is grandma driving and why don't we have a car, and like things like that. And so like he really started to, I feel like, just to understand like, oh, mommy and daddy's eyes don't work, so it's not safe, so it's still like a process for us, because I think he's still trying to like figure out like what we can and can't do, but like he definitely gets it for sure.
At least he's nice about it, because our kids will be like, oh, your eyes don't work. They just be like, you blind. Like,
yeah, that's Ari too. But y'all know she's wild with her mouth.
Yeah. I mean that's now, and he's so young. That can change.
True.
We just don't know.
But I was just gonna say, like, I do think it's a process. I don't think it's one of those things where like they notice it one day and then they start asking questions. I think like when they're so little, like you were saying, Karina, they start realizing like, oh, I need to bring my face to the spoon, or, I need to show them with their hands, because that's also my kid. So that's probably what kids do, like kids of blind parents. That's probably what they do across the board, is start showing us things with our hands. My kid also like didn't point, and I know that would always get flagged at the
same.
at the doctor, at the pediatrician, whenever they would do like the development sheets, charts or whatever. And so they would always be like, well, she's not pointing, and so some of those communication things. And I'm like, yeah, but I mean, I don't either. So it's just like, I didn't worry about those things, because I was just like, those, even if she did point, it wouldn't do anything for me. That's just not the way. That's just not the way we communicated. So I never worried about visual cues like that. What I did worry about was eye contact. I did want her to do eye contact and things. But I feel like as long as you face your child when you're speaking to them and generally looking in their direction, they'll catch up on those kind of things. But I remember Ari was starting to ask questions around Yeah, like 3. But 4 is when the really hard hitting questions started, where it was like, well, mommy, have you always been blind? And, well, mommy,
Are
what?
you ever going to be able to
Yeah,
drive?
are you ever going to be able to see? What do you see? Is it all black? Is it all? So trying to explain those things. And then we also are around a lot of other blind people. So her trying to differentiate, she would also ask like my other blind friends, like, why are you blind? And how blind are you? Like, just
Yeah.
so trying to explain that and watching her connect the dots was really cool. But also it kind of gave me this sense of like, wow, my baby is really putting it together in her brain, and you could almost see it happening. And then 4 is a really sweet age. I think that's been the perfect age so far. But like, I don't know. Then 5, they start getting like
Sass.
yes, and then it turned into
Really?
well, you can't see it because you're blind, and just really
I started
obvious
at 4.
things. Oh my goodness!
The Naya started early.
I also had a 3-nager too. 3 was hard.
3 was very
Ooh.
hard.
3 was hard. Yes.
Yeah.
I also wonder too if the kids put things in our hands or show us things by touching it because that's how we have always done it.
Yes.
Like if they get hurt or something, like what Keisha was saying, like we always touch them, so maybe they just don't know that there's any other way to do it.
Yeah.
So we have an interesting dynamic in our house because like I'm totally blind where Martin can see some. So like the kids will I feel like do certain things with him, and then like when they try to do it with me, I have to like kind of
Remind
switch
them.
things around and explain like mommy can't see. And so then like Nicholas will go and say, oh daddy, blah blah blah, and I'm like, it's okay, like you just have to show me, like if he gets hurt, I'm like, can you show me? Because he's like, pointing, and he's a pointer, and I'm like, okay, that's cool, but I need you to like actually show me where you got hurt. So I
went through that with Delainy because I lived with my parents and my siblings, and they are all sighted when Delainy was little. So I had to teach her those things, and my husband is sighted also, so I thought I would have to do the same thing with Scarlett. And I guess that's what I'm referring to is I never did. Never had to explain anything to her. And I don't know, maybe did she learn it from her sister? Could be, or is it just that intuition? Who knows?
So Terrin, do you remember like your kids asking you questions? I know you said Scarlett pretty much understood, but Delainy, did she ever ask specific questions? Like once, oh, my eyes don't work, which is usually what we say when they're so little to explain it any further. But like, did y'all explain it to your kids in any other way? Like once they were able to understand more?
Yes. I did explain to her how I lost my vision. But I also feel like nobody kind of told me you need to be careful about that, especially if you have a genetic thing going on, because then it gave her a lot of anxiety.
Oh.
Because he's like, I can see, but mommy could see when she was my age. And what if I can't see when I'm mom's age? So there was a lot of having to reassure her and tell her, even if you can't, it's going to be okay. It's not going to be a problem. So we went through that part. Scarlett's development doesn't really allow for that. So it's different with her. But Delainy has gotten past the age where most of those signs would have probably already started for her. But now we're getting into the explaining things to friends, and her friends like asking questions, and we mostly just get like, your mom doesn't look blind. There's no way your mom could be blind. And it brings me back to when I was Delaney's age and what the kids would say to me. Right. And they're saying some of those same things. I'm like, God, kids are such assholes sometimes.
No, seriously.
But they're saying those same things to her.
Yeah, that's what I'm scared of. I'm scared of the older years because I think when they're so little, like I've never gotten she's never been ashamed of us going to her school or anybody knowing who her parents are. But I like have this like fear that will eventually happen, so it's like, Mom, I kind of don't want you to come to school because you look so different than everybody else. And
yeah, thankfully I've never had that, thank goodness. But it's mostly when her friends come over to our house and then they leave, because I'm doing my regular thing while her friends are here, and then they'll just be and it goes back to the low expectations that people have for blind people. It goes back to misconceptions, again, like we talk about all the time, is these children have an idea in their head about what a blind person is like. And 99.9% of the time, that is not what a true blind person is. So when they come here and they see us just doing our normal things, it kind of blows their mind, and they can't really compute that in their brain.
Mm-hmm. And that's where the whole, well, your mom doesn't look blind or act blind.
Your mom couldn't cook if she was really blind.
Yeah.
My kids, like, I go to their school a lot because I do PTA. And whenever they see me, they'll point me out and they'll be like, there's my mom over there with that cane. Like, they'll let them know that I have the cane. And like, I've thought about the fact of them like being, I guess, embarrassed by me when they get older, but I don't see it happening because my kids, so they never asked questions. They kind of just went with the flow. So we never really explained to them what we can and cannot see, because our dynamics are kind of similar to y'all's, Karina. Like, I can see and Axel can't see anything. And they do things differently, like with us, but they're kind of universal, honestly. But they will try to sneak things though.
Yes.
Oh yeah, food all the time. But like, I don't know, they have questions, but they're not usually like your typical like, how did you lose your eyesight?
Yeah.
Why can't you see? The type of things. Like they have questions like, can we buy a Tesla so they can drive us around? Like those type of questions.
Yeah.
So my kids are a little, I don't know.
I mean, everybody processes it differently. But let's talk about them trying to get away with things because of our blindness. Because I think it's normal for kids to test boundaries, obviously. But like, has it happened to y'all where they know that you can't see it? And how do you handle those situations? Like, I know it's happened to me. Like, I just told y'all about a big one that happened. It's been a rough week around here, y'all. Like, we went to the movies last weekend, went to see Inside Out 2. And I don't know, like, I'm kind of like, do I share this or not share this? But she's little, she won't know. But my 7-year-old, I was like, okay, I'm gonna get her some snacks. We were on a play date, so I was with another mom and her kids and stuff. And so I was like, so you're not the only kid that's not getting snacks. Like, I'm gonna let you get snacks, but we're gonna get like, a pizza, 2 drinks, and you can get 1 bag of candy, because she wanted 2 bags of different candies. And not like the big ass bags of candy. At the movies, it's like $5 per bag. And I was like, no, like, you can get 1 bag of candy. That's more than enough. And I'm already letting her have soda and pizza. So we get up to the register or whatever, and the total comes out to being way more than what I thought it was going to be. And so I just paid it. I didn't even think of it. We would, that rush of just, it was crowded and trying to get there.
Just trying to get through.
Yeah. And especially on a play date, I never want to be the person that like holds everything up. Yeah. Because I already had to do it to get like my audio description device.
Sure. Yeah.
So it's
a process.
It's a whole thing. Yeah. And so, anyways, we get into the movie and we start, we're like 30 minutes into the movie, and Ari has been eating the candy and stuff. All of a sudden, I hear another bag rip. I reach over. Sure enough, she had tucked that little second bag that she snuck on the register. She had tucked it into like between the seat and her thigh, like on the other side of her. Wow. And I was like, so you really just got that bag of candy even though I told you not to? Well, yeah, I just really wanted it. And so, we dealt with that situation where it was like, I need her to understand that this is a non-negotiable, that you cannot take advantage of me because of my blindness, because that's not even just you being like naughty or bad behavior in general, but That's nasty work. That is cruel.
And the world
almost.
does that enough to us.
Yeah.
In everyday life.
And you need
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
nip
like to have your children do that.
exactly. And you need to nip that shit in the bud, because today is a bag of candy that they sneak in there. Tomorrow they're 15 and they're lying about all kinds of shit because you can't see.
Yeah.
So
My mom just gave me some advice because we have a teenager, and parenting a teenager is hard. And my mom was telling me that she wished that somebody would have given her this advice: is don't let things slide, because you let one thing slide and then another
Everything
thing
else
slides,
is
and
going to.
then your word is not your word anymore.
Yeah.
So if you say
Yes.
this is what's going to happen and this is the consequence, that consequence has to be the consequence always. And
Yes.
it's better to drop that hammer hard in the beginning than to have to backtrack. When they're 13, 14 years old, or even like 7, 8, 9, 10, it's a lot easier to drop that hammer then, instead of when they're 17 years old and you have no control over them. What are you going to do?
Exactly.
Chase them down the road? So that's the advice that she gave me.
I'm just imagining you chasing someone down the road.
Back here. I said you're grounded.
Where's she at?
Yes.
There's a Hispanic saying that basically translate: you give them a hand and they take the whole arm. Like that's how it is.
No,
with
it
these
really
kids.
is. And so I know a couple of weeks ago, well, to y'all a couple of weeks ago, we recorded that episode last week, but like I talked about the screen time limitations on her iPad. Well, her iPad privileges have been revoked for the entire summer. And I'm not going out of my way for the rest of the summer. I'm not taking her any more play dates. Like I'm not doing that, because I need her to understand that was such a big, she took advantage of me. She took advantage of my disability. And I think, I don't know, maybe I'm a bad parent for like telling her this, but when we got back home, I was like telling her off. And my daughter does have myopia, and it is progressive, although it is very stable. But I was trying to explain to her like, hey, look, I could see when I was your age as well. I didn't think that I was ever going to go blind, but you need to understand that you can be blind when you grow up as well. And would you want someone doing stuff like that to you because you're blind? And it made her cry. And I
mean, it's true.
It was true.
Yeah.
And I felt bad, but I also wanted to reach her, and I needed her to understand that it was more than just the candy.
Yeah, I don't think that makes you a bad parent at all.
I don't think so either.
I think it makes you a great parent that you're trying to really humble your daughter and have her understand the severity of the situation and how it would feel to be in that person's shoes.
Yeah, sure.
Because it's not
And for
okay.
anybody who's parented for a while, you'll know that when you are really like having to correct your child, especially about something that's like a moral issue, sometimes you really have to lay into them to get them to understand. Because you can tell if they're just like, okay, mom, okay, I heard you, fine. But you can tell when that really clicks for them, and then they realize in their own like moral compass that they have done something wrong.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes a little extra bit,
a
to
little
really
cry,
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, so that's what we're dealing with around here. And so I'm in the thick of it. I mean, she's 7, and so I think she is like pushing those boundaries and trying to see like what she can get away with. And maybe that is normal of a 7-year-old, but it makes it just so much more difficult when she starts taking advantage of my blindness. So did y'all have situations like that with your kids? I mean, maybe not as big, but just little things that y'all had. And how did y'all deal with them?
We still struggle with them taking food, like trusting them to be downstairs by themselves, and then you come down and you find out they had 2 more Gatorades than they had before.
They just went ham.
Oh my gosh. I feel like that's all kids everywhere.
It is,
though.
yeah.
It is. Like they I remember one time we had bought cupcakes home from Zane's. I don't know. I think he had like a birthday party at school or something. This was like 2 years ago. And we went upstairs or whatever. And we come down and the whole cupcake container is empty. Like this dude went ham on the rest of the cupcakes. And so it's like, oh my God. So we had to talk about how you don't take things that you're not supposed to have. And then just recently, their aunt has, I don't know why she brought this up with them, but she started talking to them about integrity. And so she gave them like the definition. And like every time she sees them, she asks them what it means. And they can tell her. Basically, they're like, don't do what you wouldn't do if someone wasn't looking. And the fact that they know that and like they keep that in their head,
That's
it makes me feel good that we're
good.
starting early.
I like that.
I'm gonna use
that
that.
they
Me
will
too.
like make sure they're not doing the wrong thing. But I mean, besides like stealing a cookie here and there, or like attempting to, and like me seeing you out the side of my eye telling you to put it back, that's all we've dealt with. But my kids are 5 and 6, so
It's
we
coming.
have a long way to go.
Well,
Oh,
maybe,
man.
hopefully not. I don't know. Maybe mine is
Hopefully
just
not
off the wall.
No, I'm not going to get into specifics, but I'm just going to say yes. Yes, it does. Yes.
I'm sure. I mean, I was a kid. I was a teenager.
Yeah. I think for me, I'm at the stage where like my 3-year-old, if I call him like to see where he's at or what he's getting into, like sometimes he won't respond. So I don't know where he's at, you know, and and it's frustrating because I'm like, I need you to answer me, especially if we're like out in public and doing things. Like I need to know where he is. So we're working on that. And like, I don't know, like there's other little things like the food. Did you eat this, or did you throw your trash away or whatever?
Yes.
And like
Oh my
he'll
God,
say,
that's a
yes,
big
I
one.
did. And then I go check and
And
it's
then
still
didn't.
there, you know,
Yeah.
like
That's
stuff
a
like
big one.
that. And I'm trying to like not be like it's all about my blindness, because I feel like a lot of these things are things that kids do just because they're kids.
Yeah.
So like you were saying, Keisha, eating all the things and then not even when you're not supposed to, kind of thing. I'm like, yeah, I feel like that's something that my mom dealt with my brother, and you know,
Yeah, that's pretty normal.
It's just sometimes the ramifications are just a little bigger for us because we're like, okay, there's still cupcakes because we didn't like, we're not visually noting that there are fewer cupcakes unless we literally go touch it. Or if we're, you know, did you pick up your breakfast mess? And they say yes. Well, we assume that they did. And the only reason we're going to find out that they didn't is if you stick your hand in a plate of pancake syrup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think also like one thing that I'm noticing is just with us, our kids, they do things knowing that they're not supposed to. And I think it happens because we can't see. And then we find out later. And it's not like huge things, but like, I don't know, like having their toys everywhere, even though it's like, pick up your toys. And they'll just leave them on the ground. And then like we go step on it and then I go yelling and it's just the whole thing. So it's like those type of things. But like one thing that I'm learning is that and Axel's really good at this and like I'm not, but like nipping it in the bud right then and there and then sticking to what you say.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I don't know, he's always like, you gotta do this. Like, and I don't know, I guess
I'm getting better at it too, because I feel kind of responsible for some of the things that are happening now because I didn't nip him in the bud earlier. And Jamel is like that as well. Like he handles business right there and there, but it also helps that they are more scared of him than they are of me.
same.
So
like, oh, mom, whatever.
Right. Like she's just gonna yell.
Right.
Whatever. But it's that bass in dad's voice. And
right.
and then they're girls. They don't want to disappoint daddy. You know what I mean? That's also like a part of it. And with me, like, oh, mom is just gonna bitch for a little bit and then she'll get over it. You know?
Yeah.
But you do have to nip it in the bud, and that's what I'm starting to do now. And I told her, like, you know, I'm not here to be your friend, I'm your mom, and so I have to do this to make sure that you grow up a decent human being.
Yeah, that's my favorite
you may
line.
not like me right now, but I'm doing it out of love for you and because I want you to be a good person.
And we're raising adults. These are future adults that we're responsible for.
Yeah.
And it helps to frame your mind that way.
It does, because I don't want to be raising no trash humans.
Yeah. Or I don't want
and
it to get too out of control to where later on it's bigger things that I'm dealing with. Because
exactly.
If I'm having a hard time trying to figure out how to handle them now, I can even imagine the type of shit I'm going to be dealing with at 14, 15, you know?
I had a friend, hopefully she doesn't mind me sharing. I'm not saying her name, so I guess it doesn't matter. But I have a friend.
Details have been changed.
I know, y'all. I
I
just be sharing everybody's business. I'm sorry.
We
But
gotta
I
start
have-
changing
listen?
names.
I don't tell
Yeah,
anybody's
I
name.
know.
I know
I
y'all don't
don't.
listen because y'all don't come for me, bitches.
But I had this friend who had a daughter. She was 16 and she was using her credit card, like spent lots and lots of money.
Oof.
Oh, my sister did that. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, and it like broke her because she just didn't think that her kid would
Mhm.
do that.
Oh.
And it's like, I don't want to get to that point because
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Oh,
know what's going to happen.
Yeah. I've heard of that happening to people too. And it's not even like it could happen to anybody. Again, it's not even a blindness thing. It's
Yeah.
just
No, my sister did that to my parents at one point. So
Yeah.
it happens.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really big on like telling my kiddo, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say nothing at all, you know.
Same.
And if you don't want it to be done to you, don't do it to someone else.
Yeah.
Like
Same.
it's like we go back to basics, and I tell him those things all the time.
There's
like,
a reason it's the golden rule.
yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like we have to say it more to Zane than to Zanaya. Because lately he's been saying things that he doesn't mean. Like will say, Zane, don't do that. And like whoever ridiculed him, he'll say, I only love daddy. And that's it.
Oh.
Or I don't love dad, or I don't love mom.
have you gotten
Because
the
he's
I
like-
hate you? I haven't gotten it
Not
yet,
yet.
but I heard it's coming.
No.
But we have the I don't
Got
love you right now. And and so like we always like I feel like for the past couple of days, like since summer has started, it's constant. Don't say things you don't mean. Be
Yeah.
nice to people. And
How would you feel if I said that about you?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And that's one thing that we're fighting with now. And
we
it's
talk
mostly
about the toothpaste thing a lot, and I don't know if y'all have heard it, but we tell
Yes.
our children that words are like toothpaste. It's very easy to squeeze out of the tube, so it's very easy to say, but you can't take it back. You can't shove that
Mhm.
toothpaste back.
I
in the
hadn't heard
tube.
that one.
I like that one.
That's a good one.
My kids are really big on the hate word. And so like
Mhm.
I've had to give them that talk because everything. I hate green beans. I hate noodles.
Same.
I hate this.
Oh
I
my-
hate that. And I'm like, guys, like we don't use that word. That word is a very, very strong word, and it
Yeah.
can hurt people.
Yeah.
And so you shouldn't say that. And so then the other day they were like, "Oh, I hate this," and I'm like, "What did I tell you about that word?" And then Zanai goes, "It's a strong word. So
Aw.
don't use it." I'm like, yes, like don't use that word.
So
Every
my
time
kid
you
was in
say,
the-
hey, you have to unload the dishwasher. You have to take the trash out.
I don't.
like
Yeah.
Pick up dog
actually.
poop.
They
so
wouldn't like
funny.
that.
Oh, duh. I hate
I'm-
unloading the dishwasher.
I'm dealing with the same thing with my kid, and so now he says, "I don't like," and I'm like, "Oh, here we go."
Yeah.
Now you
I
can
guess
say
it-
nothing because you fixed it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but still, now
It's gonna
everything
be
is,
like
I don't
green
like
beans are
this.
not my favorite.
Yeah.
Right.
He's smart. He just changed up the words. You know?
Exactly.
Like,
They're
dude, no.
Too smart
He's
for
gonna
their
be
own
a future politician.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Oh no.
So, with all that being said, we have Terrin's oldest daughter, Delainy. She is, well, Delainy, you can tell us, how old are you?
I'm 13 years old.
13.
Oh my god.
Yes.
And do you even remember, like, around what age did you start to realize that your mom was blind and, like, different than everybody else? Do you even remember?
I don't really remember. I just like it's pretty much normal for me.
It was just normal, yeah. Did you ever get any comments at school about it? Or, like, would you tell other kids, like, oh, hey, like, my mom is blind? Like, did you tell the other kids about your mom? Or was it just when they saw her?
Pretty much only when they see her, but a lot of people think I'm lying. They're like, "Oh no, she's not. Your mom's not blind." I'm like, yes, she is. Like, I don't know what you want me to tell you.
And then you had to prove it. This is how
I know.
blind she is.
I guess I wonder if that's because, like we talked about before, there's such a spectrum of blindness, and they're probably thinking like, when you're blind, like you can't see nothing at all, like
Yeah.
total. But Terrin can see a little bit, and they're probably like, oh my god, like this lady is walking around, she's cleaning
Yeah,
and
does
cooking.
she
like,
have-
exactly.
Well, they see her, like, at home when they come over to your place, but, like, they see her at school with her cane.
My mom doesn't want to come to my school.
Oh,
Like-
okay.
Yeah, they pretty much like we can only go there for like award ceremonies and stuff
Oh,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Much it. Yeah. I'm sensitive to the fact that Delainy already has the blind mom. So I try to make sure that there's nothing else that they can say about me. So when I go up to the school, I very much try to make sure my outfit looks good.
Me too,
My
girl.
makeup looks good. My hair looks good because I don't want them to be like, your mom is blind and she had fucking bleach stains on her joggers.
No, seriously. Yeah. Or like dressed appropriately too, you know? Like you don't want to show up in like your crop top or just looking bummy as fuck at the school.
I have a couple of times. Like,
You've been bummy at the
Hey.
school?
sometimes
Wait,
it's like
watch it.
shoot.
Then you just fit
Sometimes
in with the kids. 'Cause,
It's
you
like
know,
early
that's
in
what
the
they-
morning, and it's like who?
No,
has
I'm
time
not
to
gonna lie. I
get
have
all
dropped her
fresh?
off before. I was like newly. I had
Shoot, I
just had a
pajamas
Vani.
on.
No, I didn't have pajamas on, but I sure walked up there with no bra on.
Ooh, girl, you're
That's worse
brave.
than not having pajamas.
You're brave.
That's worse than having pajamas on.
It is. But I was just in and out real quick. And then they saw me.
Oh Lord.
What do you think is like the biggest adjustment that you've had to make having a blind mom, like comparatively speaking, with your peers?
Not like having my mom be able to drive,
Same, girl.
or like
Yeah.
because like a lot of things. Like my dad's at work a lot. Like he's pretty much never home, so it's like really hard going places because someone always pretty much has to drive me, and mom can't.
Yeah. So would you say that's the hardest
It's not news
part?
to me.
I know,
I
right?
can't drive.
Yeah.
I always say dropping shit on the ground, trying to find what I dropped on the
Yes, oh my
ground,
God.
and the
And not
fact that I
driving.
can't drive. Those are the
Mhm.
two most inconvenient parts. If it weren't for that, it would be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're 13, so like you're close to driving.
I know
Hey,
you're gonna drive.
Watch it.
And then
So
you're
I'm
gonna be
in the-
complaining that she wants you to drive her everywhere.
It'd be like, Delainy, load up. We gotta go to the dollar store.
You're like, Mom, can you stay home today? I really want to just drive by myself.
Yeah.
Mom, we can't go to Target for the third time this
Yes.
week. Like,
Delaney won't even be home. She'd be like,
Right?
Right. Let me
Who's
drop my
mom?
mom off. And
yeah.
Right? That is so cool, though, that Terrin, you're going to be the first one to experience that. Like, I'm going to be picking your brain.
yeah,
And-
having a
Yeah.
child
That's
that
gonna be so
drives.
cool.
What a luxury.
I'm nervous about it.
I can't wait.
And
Zane, drive me
It'll
everywhere.
be just over a year when she gets her permit.
That's
so.
exciting.
Wow.
We already have the car
Scary.
that she's gonna drive. So
That's amazing.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Delaney, do you I don't know, have you ever like thought that you have to help your mom out more than if she wasn't blind? Like, has it ever gotten on your nerves where you're like, oh my God, Mom, like I'm tired of explaining shit to you? Like
you can be honest.
not really, because it's just like it definitely is harder. But like I wouldn't say it gets on my nerves because it's just like a part of my life at this point.
oh.
Oh.
Like I don't really think it's bothering me at all.
Right.
So,
Like,
like,
it's
you're
just
used to
normal.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I do think it's harder than like if my mom was like could
Mhm.
see, you know.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But I love that. I love that you're just like, oh, that's just how it is. That's just like how it's always
Yeah.
been. And
Yeah, I think it also that's why like me and my mom's relationship is so good. Like me and my mom have a really, really good relationship, and I think that's also why.
I was just about to say that. Like, you guys
Aw.
have a really, really close relationship. And that's probably why, because you do help her a lot. And you can tell just by interacting with you too on a regular basis that y'all have a really strong relationship.
yeah,
And that's pretty cool.
that
I
is.
like
I think it's too like I was so young when she was born. So in a lot of ways we grew up together.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And there was times that it was just she and I. And you know, it was the two of us against everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel that.
That's
That's
beautiful.
awesome.
I know. I like want my daughter to be this old so I can see how she turned out.
Y'all sitting here talking about I
Because
want
we're
my
going
daughter
through
just
it.
leave me alone. Like she,
Oh.
she won't leave
There
me
will be one
alone.
day where you're gonna be all by
They say
yourself,
that.
and you're
I
gonna
know.
be.
Yeah.
I wish my kids were hanging on to me again.
I understand that, but like we're going.
There's going to be
through
a time that
phase
they're going
right
to be in
now.
their room most of the day, and you're going to be like, "Are you alive? Have you eaten?
Yeah.
Like, are you dehydrated? Are you okay?"
That's why I got my 2 32-ounce water bottles always downstairs.
So she doesn't have
So
to
you
come upstairs.
don't get dehydrated.
Exactly.
She's like, I'm preparing.
We have the food storage down
Yeah,
there.
I mean, you took the Berkey from downstairs. So
Yeah, our water filter's upstairs now, so she's got to come up a little bit.
So
And
your
for
room is
Tanner.
in the bottom. Your room is in the bottom level of the house.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, yeah, it's in the basement. So, like in Colorado, a lot of the houses have bedrooms in the basement.
Oh, okay.
So her bedroom's in the basement.
But it's not like ghetto.
No. It's a finished basement.
You
It
needed to
looks
make
like
that
the-
clear.
Yeah, she's like, I'm not living like Cinderella.
Yeah.
It looks like the upstairs or like the main level.
But wait,
Yeah.
so you have like the whole basement, or is it separated into like
No,
a bedroom
it's
and a
just-
living space?
Yeah, it's separated, and there's a
Okay.
bathroom down there too, and Scarlett also is down
Yeah,
there.
Scarlett's down there,
Oh,
and then we have
okay.
our main living room down there, and there's a bathroom and a storage closet.
Yeah.
And then upstairs has like a sitting room or like another living room, dining area, kitchen, another bedroom, another bathroom, laundry room, and then the master suite.
Okay,
Oh.
so I watch I listen to a lot of true crime. Can you stop telling us the layout of your house, please?
That's true. Also, we have lots of guns.
And I did train in martial arts for 3 years. Just
Oh,
saying.
she
did.
did.
Trying to brag.
Oh, you
That
better
out
watch
there.
yourself.
Mhm.
Is there anything else that you guys want to ask?
I don't know. I think this is really cool. Thank you, Lainey, for
Yes,
coming.
that
and
was so
Is there
talking
sweet.
anything you
us.
want to
Like,
add that we didn't touch on? Because like we're the moms, so we don't know if there's other things that you want to say. We're just talking about how it is for kids to have blind parents. So is there anything that we didn't talk about?
Well, I mean, I don't know if this is everybody, but with like, I don't know if you want to put this in.
We'll
can
just
cut
say
it.
it, and we can cut it if you don't
It's
like
okay.
it. Yeah.
So basically, like sometimes like moms already are like aggravated because like I don't know how to explain this. Like I just feel like she gets more aggravated easily with stuff like what she can't see, like how the house is dirty and stuff. If that makes sense.
It
I
does.
talked about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does
And
make
like
sense,
and
yeah.
then I feel like I have to like clean everything for her because I don't want her to get upset. Cause like we have a lot of people coming in our house. I know that doesn't really like apply to like blind
Yeah.
parents, but like
She's
I
like,
think
this
it
is
kinda
my
does,
struggle.
though.
So
It kind of does because like I know for me, do not move anything that I put somewhere and I know where it's at because then I'm gonna get really
Mhm.
upset.
we have that with the medicine mom. Like every time she gets Scarlett's medicine, she's like, Corey, why did you move this medicine?
Yeah. Or
and
like,
like what she was talking about with the cleaning is like if somebody doesn't pick up after themselves, it doesn't really matter who it is at the end of the day because I don't know it's there until I stick my hand in it.
right.
Yeah.
I
Even
was
if
just
like
gonna
Scarlett didn't
say-
pick something up, but Delaney sees it, I'm like,
Mhm.
girl, why didn't you tell me that was there? Why didn't you pick it up?
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I was
I don't
gonna
know it's
ask.
there.
Like, whenever you see mess that your mom has missed, do you automatically think I need to either clean it up or tell her about it before she gets mad because nobody said
Well,
anything?
Yeah, I pretty much clean it up because if I tell her about it, she'll get aggravated.
I sound like a bitch.
That sounds
She's like,
good.
I don't want
No,
to.
girl.
She's like, I don't want to hear it.
yeah, that sounds like good training. That's what I need to do.
I was gonna say because like
Right?
other
Well, she
people
doesn't
would
get
probably just leave it
aggravated.
there.
She doesn't get aggravated, just more like exasperated, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Just
I think
like
that's- yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
It does. I think we all do that. And
Yeah.
we go on tirades around our house just telling everybody how much of slobs they are.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
So that's
Every
pretty normal.
day.
That's a mom thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just something like if you see it, just handle it. Like it's
Yeah.
not. You
Yeah,
know,
but
if
a lot
if
of
you're
times-
already there.
Mhm.
Right.
Well, and if everybody could just pick up after their own selves, it would be great.
Yeah.
I mean that
We
would
had
be
this-
ideal.
We had this nurse, like this night nurse that we had, and he made Scarlett a sandwich and he left every single thing on the counter for the whole night.
Yeah, we could
Oh,
definitely
no.
tell the difference between male nurses and female
Oh, yeah, I'm
nurses.
sure.
And and let's instill this on our sons, although only Karina and Keisha have sons, but they're capable of picking up after themselves just as much as a woman is. But this male nurse was a slob kebab. And you could just tell that his mama had picked up after him. And then after that, his wife had picked up after him. So it was not intentional. It's just he could not think through a task all the way to completion to say, okay, I made a sandwich. I need to now put the bread away and put the sandwich meat away and put the mayonnaise away. He just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Or he would like make a mess and leave the trash everywhere.
We make sure, Nicholas, like you pick up your dishes, and he's 3.5, and you put him in the sink, you clean up your trash. Like this is not, I'm not doing everything.
I mean, it's a constant reminder though, every day, multiple times a day. But like they don't, no, I don't pick anything up for them. No. And if I am, I'm yelling. So while I'm picking it up.
Yeah. True. We should do a whole episode on just like mom tirades on sloppy kids.
I'll just go around like a tornado, just like nobody here picks up after themselves. What? Do I look like your maid? No, I call them bitch chores. I'll be like, I'm the chore whore.
Yeah. That's oh my God. I do the same thing. I'm like, so I'm just the bitch that cleans up after everybody around here.
I just started walking around like now. I just walk around with a trash bag in my hand. Oh, you don't want to clean up? All right, I'm going to take this. I'm going to take that.
Oh, yeah. I do that too. I tell Nicholas, I'm like, you don't want to pick it up? I'm about to throw it away. And that always makes him
give Ari a timer. 5 minutes is better be picked up or it's going in the trash.
Yeah.
No, you're nice.
That's what mom used to tell me. She don't tell that to Scarlett, though. She's softened up.
Scarlett's a little bit different.
Okay, but... you used to tell me if I didn't clean up my room, then everything was going to get thrown away.
I've told her that now.
It worked though, didn't
it? Well,
no, it doesn't work. She'll put everything on top of her dresser and say it's cleaned up.
Oh, that sounds like me when I was in college.
Bless her.
Just throwing everything under my bed.
She said it's not on the floor.
Right.
New rule: if it's on your dresser too, then it's getting thrown away.
Yeah.
I'll take it in consideration. Anything else you want to say?
Tell Scarlett to be nicer than me.
Now she's just getting it off her chest. She's like,
she's so mean to me. Like literally, there was this chicken in our yard, and I was telling Scarlett to let it free because like mom told me to, and Scarlett was like, but it's gonna get hurt, and I was like, Scarlett, stop, put it down, and she's like, no, I can't. It's like, Scarlett, put the freaking chicken down, and then mom's like, put the damn chicken down, Scarlett, and she was yelling.
How often do I yell? Like actually yell?
Because and not very often, like at all. But like she was already having a bad day and she told me just to like do that. And Scarlett never listens to me and it makes me so mad. She'll just argue with me.
Did y'all clock the fact that we had a random chicken in our yard?
Yeah.
I thought it was y'all's. I'm like,
I thought it was homestead problems.
Homestead problems. We had a goat not too long ago.
Damn, y'all need to make wildlife TikToks.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Oh, I did make one with the goat. It's on my personal TikTok. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yes,
how cute.
It sounded so
interesting.
Cute. Yes. Oh, well, Lainey, thank you so much for joining us. It was so nice talking to you. You sound so pretty. Oh my gosh, I want to be friends.
Thank you.
I want to be friends. Yeah, let's be friends. I'm not like a regular mom. I'm a cool mom.